There's a major emphasis in all the textbooks and movies and stuff on dinosaurs because that seems to be Satan's favorite tool to reach kids like Weston who can't even read yet, but love dinosaurs. It's a great way to start teaching kids the basics of evolution before they can even read, and it's time somebody puts a stop to this, and that's what we're going to try to do in this series. When the devil speaketh a lie, when he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, for he's a liar and the father of it. This is Jesus talking about the devil, how he lies, okay? God is not a man that he should lie. Titus 1:12, in hope of eternal life, which God that cannot lie promised before the world began. God hates lies, and he said very clearly, in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, which means dinosaurs had to live with Adam and Eve. God is saying he made everything in 6 days. And whether you evolutionists or atheists realize it or not, I think you probably do realize it, you are calling God a liar by claiming dinosaurs lived before man got here. Somebody is wrong. You are or God is. We shall see. This fellow said, are dinosaurs still alive today? Somebody asked him the question. He said, in an evolutionary sense, birds are a living group of dinosaurs because they descended from the common ancestor of all dinosaurs. This is beyond a lie. This is flat stupid to think birds are related to dinosaurs. Some people can get people to believe in just about anything. Got another discussion the other day on the flat earth. I'm sorry, it's not flat, and I'm not paid to teach it's round either, okay? I got a call today, Nick, you don't even know about this. This guy wants me to moderate a debate between a flat earther and a guy who just wrote a book. They sent me the PDF of the book, and I can't figure out how to open it on my phone, so get that open for me. But a book on the round earth. And so I've never tried to moderate a debate. I'd be very prejudiced in that one.
Yeah, I could do it.
You could do it?
Yeah, if you want me.
Well, let's see. Anyway, this is a lie. Dinosaurs did not live millions of years ago. They did not turn into birds. They are mentioned in the Bible, and some may still be alive. We're going to go just a short time tonight because we started real late. We had a lot of visitors here. And we're going to cover just a couple of the things I've had in my seminar that I've always wanted to add to the seminar on my session part 3. Video 3B. 3A is about dinosaurs living with man all through history, and 3B on the seminar series, the second half of the third DVD, about dinosaurs in the Bible. The second half of this 2-hour DVD is about dinosaurs that may still be alive. There have been 20,000 at least reported sightings in the last few hundred years. I'm going to share a few of them with you now and more tomorrow. Okay, here are some expeditions that have been to the Congo since 1976. There have been many expeditions into the Congo where they're reporting apatosauruses still living. How about this? Here's a press release from back in 2006. Do you want to help us catch a living dinosaur? I mean on film. In January 2006, Dr. Bill Gibbons, that's the guy who wrote the book with me, William Gibbons and I wrote this one together, Claws, Jaws, Dinosaurs. Dr. Gibbons and his team are setting out again into the depths of the unexplored swamp and river system between Congo and Cameroon in search of the fabled Mokele Mbembe. This elephant-sized close cousin of Diplodocus, which would look, I guess, kind of similar to this guy, has successfully eluded over 20 expeditions since 1980. But tantalizing glimpses from local tribal hunters and even missionaries have confirmed that a dinosaur does indeed still inhabit this remote and scarcely explored part of equatorial Africa. Since 1986, Dr. Gibbons and his team have conducted 6 expeditions to Congo and Cameroon. Recently, they discovered an undisclosed region of Cameroon where a major breakthrough has been established. Using a combination of satellite images, amazing eyewitness testimonies, and meticulous field research, the team has successfully plotted the migration pattern of a group of Mokele Mbembes along 3 river systems that converge on the border with Congo. So far, the team has collected plaster casts of the dinosaur claw marks, recorded vocalizations that cannot be matched to any other known African animal. They set up a tape recorder to record at night, and it recorded this thing making a weird roaring sound. They asked the natives, they said, yeah, that's Mokele Mbembe. Didn't match any other animal. Let's see. And located the caves where they hide in semi-hibernation during the dry season when the swamps and rivers dry up. Dr. Mackel, retired biologist and evolutionist from the University of Chicago, has now given his full endorsement to Dr. Gibbons and his team, who are all young Earth creationists. You know, when you see this, in the minds of some people who watch this channel, as soon as you say it's young Earth creationists, they immediately discount all of them. They don't have to know their names, their qualifications, their intelligence, anything about them. Oh, you believe in young Earth, you're disqualified. That's the way they think. You can't be a scientist if you believe in young Earth. I know you guys believe that. I'm sorry. You're the one that's not the scientist. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Mackel, whose classic book, Mokele Mbembe, A Living Dinosaur, is now on sale through CSE Ministries, fully acknowledges that it is the creationists who are doing it. He writes, I regard William Gibbons as the best possible successor to carry out the investigations and research to discover and establish whether small sauropod dinosaurs still exist in equatorial Africa. This search, which I initiated in 1980 and 82, is nearing resolution, in my opinion, based on Dr. Gibbons' success in establishing the probable location of these animals and other evidence. I urge that all possible support be given to this ongoing effort to find these animals. Dr. Mackel, University of Chicago. So I think an honest, whether you believe in evolution or not, if you're just plain honest, you should say, if there's evidence that dinosaurs may still be alive, let's go check it out. And if they find one still alive, I would suggest that you stop teaching they died off 70 million years ago. That's not true. And I think, I would hope that you would at least question your basic worldview. One of the guys on the Flat Earth channel, talking about me on there, he said, Hovind either knows it's flat and he's lying, or he's being paid to teach the Earth is round. There's a third option, guys. You're wrong and I'm right. You don't even think of that. They can't even think of that option. All they think of is he's wrong. Now, why is he wrong? Never mind. Okay. Stuart Olmsted from Iowa saw a brontosaurus, which would technically be the apatosaurus, 700 miles from Brazzaville while serving in the French Foreign Legion. He was flying in a helicopter and watched the 40-foot-long creature for 5 minutes. When he went back in 2001, he and his friend in this canoe watched nearly 20 of these creatures for an hour and 20 minutes. Now, I went through today and called all the phone numbers I could find, because these slides are from 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And some worked, some didn't work. I don't know that, I didn't check this one, but in 2006, that was his phone number. Probably it's changed with cell phones now. But 100 miles north of the capital in the Congo is where they saw this. He watched it for an hour and watched 20 of them. I talked to the guy. He said, yeah, it was an apatosaurus, a sauropod, a dinosaur. Long neck, long tail. Missionary Cal Bombay, who I talked to today, and his wife, who's now in Ontario, Canada, he told me, don't give out my cell phone, brother. I'm 80 years old. I don't want any more phone calls. But he's had hundreds of phone calls about this. They watched a creature like this for 15 minutes when they were in Kenya. He said the plates on the back were bigger than the one pictured here. This picture is from Roy Mackel's book, A Living Dinosaur. Down in South America, in 1907, Lieutenant Colonel Perry Fawcett of the British Army was sent to mark the boundary between Brazil and Peru. He was an officer in the Royal Engineers and was known as a meticulous recorder of facts. Now, this asterisk means there's a whole bunch of notes below this in the note section of PowerPoint I don't have time to go into. Colonel Fawcett and his son drew this sketch. He said that's the footprints they saw of the creature down there. This is 1907. Missionary William Goff, who I talked to today, was missionary to the Amazon. His wife is a princess of the Wai Nation down there, Amazonian, was in the Amazon for 40 years. The natives he ministered to said they had recently killed a dinosaur. This is back in 2005. He called me in October of 2005. He said the natives describe it as a 30-foot lizard, 5 feet tall, that makes a thundering noise to startle its prey. The native Wai Indians call it urufiri and are terrified of it. That's his cell phone right there. If you don't believe me, call him up. Let's see. This is in the northwest region of Para. In the Beni swamps, Madre de Dios, Colonel Fawcett saw an animal he believed to be a diplodocus. That's this guy right here. The diplodocus story is confirmed by many of the tribes east of the Ucayali. This is from the book, The Rivers Ran East. I met with William Mast. He was a missionary in Bolivia back in 1996. He and a friend of his went dredging for gold. Several friends went through the jungle to a big lake where natives are afraid to go. They saw 2 big humps in the water and the fish were fleeing frantically. He stood up and said, "Look at that, a dinosaur." 1888, Scientific American was not afraid to publish this. They would never publish this now, okay, because they're dedicated to evolution. But back when they were honest and honestly reported scientific inquiry, they reported the Brazilian minister at La Paz, Bolivia, had remitted to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Rio photographs or drawings of an extraordinary saurian, that would be a sauropod, a dinosaur, killed on the Beni, which is one of the rivers, after receiving 36 balls. They shot it 36 times to kill it. By order of the president of Bolivia, the dried body, which had been preserved in Asuncion, was sent to La Paz. It was 12 meters long, that's 39 feet long, from snout to point of the tail, which latter is flattened. Besides the anterior head, it has 4 meters behind, two small but completely formed heads. I don't know what that means, but this is what the article said. Rising from the back. All three have much resemblance to the head of a dog. The legs are short and end in formidable claws. The legs, belly, and lower part of the throat appeared defended by a kind of scale armor. And all the back is protected by a still thicker and double cuirass, starting from behind the ears of the anterior head and continuing to the tail. The neck is long and the belly large, almost dragging the ground. Professor Gilvetti, who examined the beast, said it is not a monster, but a member of a rare and almost lost species, as the Indians in some parts of Bolivia use small earthen vessels of identical shape and probably copied from nature. Now hold it. 1883, they shot and killed a dinosaur and reported it. Most of you have heard of a lake in Scotland called Loch Ness. How many have ever heard of Loch Ness before? Loch simply means lake in Scottish language. lochness.co.uk. Loch Ness is 24 miles long and about a mile to a mile and a half wide. It is in a valley between mountain ranges. It was nearly inaccessible, very difficult to even get to the lake until 1933, when they cut a notch in the side of the road, or inside of the hill, and put a road in there. Cut a notch in the mountain. People went there before, but hardly anybody. In 1933, the roadbed was cut in. Right away, there began to be lots of sightings of the Loch Ness monster by outsiders. Local people talked about it, but everybody thought they were crazy. Loch Ness is big enough and deep enough that all 7 billion people in the world could go drown in it at the same time. Wow. That's a big lake. Wow. This article, when it was written, said there have been 9,000 reported sightings of the Loch Ness monster. 3,000 have been recorded. Now, there were 52 separate sightings in 1933 alone by individuals or groups who were willing to go on record as having seen something big and unidentifiable in the loch. 9,000 reported sightings. It's over 11,000 now. 11,000 reported sightings. There are no doubt some fakes. Okay, this is a fake. You know, there's always somebody trying to ride the coattails of, oh wow, let's sell newspapers claiming we captured the Loch Ness monster or something. So just because there are fakes, though, doesn't mean there aren't the real thing. There are fake $20 bills. Did you know that? Does that mean they're all fake? Well, that's a poor example, because technically they are all fake, okay? Federal Reserve notes, but never mind. Yeah. Sir Peter Scott, a member of Parliament, is an expert on Nessie. He said he believes it's a plesiosaurus, this guy right here. Plesiosaur. Why would 11,000 people claim they've seen a plesiosaur in Loch Ness? Maybe because there's a plesiosaur in Loch Ness. Now, the atheists who are determined to believe dinosaurs lived millions of years ago have to call all 11,000 people liars. They have to, because it doesn't fit their religion. Others insist Nessie must be a plesiosaur. This is from the book Strange Animals, right over there behind the map. One thing wrong with this theory is that plesiosaurs are believed to have become extinct 70 million years ago. No, the thing that's wrong is not that they went extinct 70 million years ago. The thing that's wrong is the fact that you believe they went extinct 70 million years ago and you're not willing to look at obvious evidence. Arthur Grant, a veterinarian student, nearly ran into Loch Ness monster on his motorcycle. Whoa. He was crossing the road in front of him. He drew that sketch of it. Wow. His sketch was slightly different. I had an artist friend of mine draw one for the book here. He said, I had a splendid view of the object. In fact, I almost struck it with my motorcycle. It had a long neck and large oval-shaped eyes on top of a small head. The tail would be from 5 to 6 feet long and very powerful. The curious thing about it was that the end was rounded off. It did not come to a point. Now, when the models you buy from Smithsonian, the tail comes to a point. A couple options are, they got it wrong when they made the model, Or the poor fellow had his tail chopped off in a fight with something and rounded off now. The total length of the animal would be 15 to 20 feet. Knowing something of natural history, I can say I've never seen anything like it in my life. Like the animal I saw, it looked like a hybrid. I jumped off my cycle and followed the animal, which had entered the lock with great speed. There was a huge splash, and from the disturbance of the surface, it had evidently made away before I reached the shore. Arthur Grant. There's the sketch he drew of what he saw in Loch Ness. The guy's a veterinarian student. He ought to know something about animals. Okay? Alexander Campbell claims to have seen Nessie 18 times in 47 years. He was the water bailiff. They call it a bailiff. We would call it a game warden for Loch Ness. Well, don't you think it's logical the game warden for Loch Ness would see the game in Loch Ness 18 times? There's the sketch he drew in 1934 of the creature he claimed he saw. Cages have been built to try to catch it. Mrs. Moyer saw it in 1936. She said it's about 30 feet long, has humps on the back. Now, the humps might be muscular contractions as it swims, or might be part of the natural anatomy. I don't know. The Spicer family reported seeing it with a sheep in its mouth, headed back into the lake. Came up on shore, grabbed a sheep. Here's one showing the back here and the neck sticking up over here. But when they republish this picture in most magazines, they chop off the head. So people will say, oh, you're just seeing a rock or something like that. This Weekly Scotsman newspaper, the monster surfaces, that's the picture. But then the Reader's Digest cropped off the head. Why would they do that? Torquil McLeod watched the Loch Ness Monster for 9 minutes through his binoculars. On 1916, he drew these sketches of what he saw. He said the head was on a long neck and moved back and forth like a snake about to strike. Torquil said, I think Loch Ness Monster looks like that. Is it my imagination, or are they all coming up with the same basic idea? Why would 11,000 witnesses from all different walks of life claim they've seen a plesiosaur? Miss Greta Finley, 1952, saw the creature. So that was the sketch she drew. World Book Encyclopedia decided to put a submarine down there. They put a mini-sub down in Loch Ness. They got down there and they said the water is like being in thick iced tea. You cannot see anything. They couldn't see the front of their own boat, and they were in it. Dan Taylor of Hardyville built this mini-sub. He said, Nessie is pretty elusive. I thought I got her. Something was lying on the bottom, and the wash from it threw my submarine way off course. Apparently he got close, and it swam off quickly, and they call it the wash, threw his sub off course. Operation Deep Scan, I think there's been another one since then. I need to check on this. But 1987, they got a bunch of boats lined up and scanned the bottom of the lake with sonar. They discovered the bottom of Loch Ness is wrinkled up like a raisin with hundreds of places to hide. It's up to 900 feet deep. It has caves off to the side of Loch Ness. I'm sure the critter heard 24 boats coming down the lake because tried to get away from them. The Academy of Applied Science got an underwater photograph in the murky water. Here it is enhanced right here, the flippers. Of diamond-shaped flippers. Probably one of these. Again, I don't see a problem. See, I believe the Bible. I believe God said it, He made everything in 6 days. I don't have a problem with dinosaurs living with man. Do you? If so, why? Reader's Digest published this picture of the critter with its mouth open. Here's a picture of humps sticking out of the water. Surgeon's photo in 1933, they claim was fake. Now, it's very interesting. They waited till the last guy who could have even known died to announce it's fake. And they say, well, he said on his deathbed it was faked. And we're supposed to believe you? Maybe this picture is fake, I don't know. But it doesn't prove Loch Ness Monster is fake. There's more than just Loch Ness. There are 7 other lakes in Scotland. Loch Lochy, Loch Morag, and almost all of these lakes are reported having creatures similar to this, or at least passing through. Maybe they're there for a while. It's a migration pattern. Morgwar, the Cornish sea serpent. Cornwall, down here, the tip of England sticking out there. This critter was photographed in 1976. You can see the neck is changing positions. It's moving. It's an animate object. English Channel sea serpent. South end of the North Sea, people claim they've seen a creature like English Channel. Back in 1749, in a Gentleman's Magazine, a sea dragon, a marine monster caught in England in 1749, resembling in some degree an alligator, but having two large fins, which served for swimming or flying. It had two legs terminating in hoofs like those of an ass. Its body was covered with impenetrable scales, and it had 5 rows of teeth. I think that's right up there on the top shelf, this 1766 dictionary. This 25-foot creature washed up on the beach in Normandy, France in 1934. Here's a man standing here for scale, so you can see how big it is. Had 2 flippers up front, or 2 fins, and 2 fins in the back. 2 professors from Paris Natural History Museum analyzed the creature and said it was definitely not a whale, not a sea cow. It is probably that we're in the presence of an unknown species, from Time magazine, 1934. Sea serpent reported off the coast of Brazil, 1905. Observers of the yacht Valhalla, cruising off the coast of Brazil, spotted a dorsal fin 6 feet long. The dorsal fin is the fin on the back of, some animals have that, okay? Then a small head on a neck about 7 or 8 feet long rose in front of the fin. The creature's color was mainly dark brown, turning white on the underside of the neck, which is quite common. Many animals are dark on the top and white underneath. People looking up see them against the sky and they blend in. People looking down see them against the earth and they blend in. Many animals have that color pattern for camouflage. And a good-sized body could be seen under the water. The observers were 2 experienced British naturalists, Michael Nicol and E.G.B. Mead Waldo, fellows of the Zoological Society. They published an account in the book called The Proceedings. I saw, swimming parallel to the ship underwater, a curious creature about 4 feet long with a long neck and large flippers. I believe, as did my wife who also saw it, that it was a young plesiosaurus. A Queensland correspondent wrote me that a young plesiosaur was taken in a net off Mudgee Beach, Australia. He sent me a sketch which is like the one I myself saw off the coast of Greece, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. He wrote the famous Sherlock Holmes series. The author of The Lost World. In 1928, 2 years before his death, Sir Arthur and Lady Conan Doyle were enjoying a stroll on the deck of a steamer off, this is a Greek city, when an unusual sight distracted them from a view of the temple Poseidon. William Gibbons quotes this in his book. Why would people report this? Now, this is the last one I'm going to cover. This one gets controversial. Down by New Zealand, right in this area, there's a place where the continental shelf is only about 1,000 feet. The water's about 1,000 feet deep. The rest of the Pacific is like 12,000 feet deep.
Wait, you said you're going to cover something controversial.
Me? Controversial? No, I avoid that. This 32-foot-long creature weighing 4,000 pounds was hauled up from 900 feet down. They're dragging their fishing net 900 feet down. When they pulled it up, there's this critter in there, dead, rotting, and stunk. After examining the creature, they threw it back. Here's what they pulled up in their net. They're down the back of it, okay? Inspection of the Zouia, whatever it is, Maru, the boat, okay, the name of the boat, pictures, reveals that the aquatic cryptid had a symmetrical pair of small upper fins on each side above the anterior flippers. If this observation is correct, then the identification of this animal as a basking shark is false. I take a lot of flack over this one because I mention it. They say, Hovind, don't you know that's been proven it was a basking shark? It has not been proven it was a basking shark. I'll show you, okay? Previously, the fin of just one side was observed and wrongly identified as a shark's dorsal fin that had slid sideways from the mid-dorsal ridge. Examination of the original scientific report reveals that Yano, along with all the fishermen, observed a pair of upper fins. They specifically stated it was not a shark's dorsal fin. That statement caused considerable discussion among the scientists who questioned them. Besides that, some archaeological representations of marine tetrapods, tetra meaning 4, pod meaning foot, 4 limbs, display the small symmetrical upper fins. Their appearance is like Yano's pictures, tending to provide confirmation for this feature. These would be marine tetrapods. They have 4 flippers. This is a marine tetrapod. Okay, has 4 things to swim with. Another confirmation for the marine reptile understanding and falsification of the shark idea is a picture revealing the nair. That's nostrils. Sharks don't have any nostrils at all. They breathe through gills. It's a picture revealing the nair at the lower front of the skull. It is right where Jano sketched it, though that is not where it should be for sharks. Although this cryptid may not currently be identified with either living creatures or specific known fossils, it possesses characteristics like those of marine reptiles, perhaps similar to the sauropod critters here. So they're claiming it could be one of these. I would agree. To me, that makes common sense. There could be some around. The world's not millions of years old. In the morning of April 25, 1977, 50 kilometers east of Christchurch, New Zealand, the Japanese fishing boat brought up a large animal from a depth of 300 meters, 930 feet, whatever. Mr. Jano, a section chief for the fishery company, was present. He took pictures, got measurements, and also sketched the cryptid. Cryptid means hidden, like cryptic. Cryptozoology is the study of hidden animals. A team of scientists met later, and their findings were published in 1978, collection papers on the carcass. The committee did not reach a unanimous verdict about the identity of the creature, though a significant amount of data was considered. Since then, some claimed the cryptid was a basking shark. The strongest shark proponent has probably been Cuban. Now, that would be Glenn Cuban, who apparently hates creationists, okay, and is dedicated to supporting the evolution theory. He said, several lines of evidence strongly indicate this carcass was a large shark, most likely a basking shark. Here is a basking shark. They swim around with their mouth open. I've seen people do that. So you're claiming this was a basking shark. Glenn, you have lost your mind, okay? That is not a basking shark. He said, well, all this part rotted off down here, and that's just the head and neck up there. So the whole lower jaw. Cuban suggested that scientists should refrain from any further suggestions that the carcass was likely a plesiosaur. That's because Cuban is dedicated to teaching evolution, and this would greatly upset his little religion. Cuban likewise criticized the 15 or so scientists who have presented the Ziromaru cryptid as a living fossil, because Cuban believes it certainly was a shark. Well, Cuban, you believe whatever you want. Since then, certain creation scientists have retreated from the marine reptile idea. I've had creation ministries, some large ones, criticize me for even bringing this up. They say, Hovind, you should stop using that. It's a basking shark. Well, if I ever start working for you, I guess I'll have to stop using it, won't I? Right now, I'm not working for you. Okay. Some prominent cryptozoologists have already decided the cryptid was a basking shark. That led to Todd Wood's Creation Research Quarterly letter, presenting some arguments for the shark identification. Somebody wrote a letter saying, yep, we believe it's a shark, and here's why, and he gave his arguments. There is no reason for creation scientists to adopt the basking shark hypothesis, because evidence is strong this creature was a tetrapod. Sharks are not a tetrapod. They don't have 4 feet. The question is directly relevant for creation science since it supports a recent inception for all living kinds, things. In other words, all animals lived at the same time recently, 6,000 years, including marine tetrapods possibly still alive. I believe that's correct. I believe some of these are possibly still alive. The primary morphological reasons identifying a basking shark were the myocomata in the dorsal muscles, what is thought to be a dorsal fin above the visible right front pectoral flipper. The dorsal means the back, the dorsal fin. Sharks have 2 dorsal fins, a big one that everybody sees and gets scared, and then a small one back here helps them steer and guide their body through. So, also, figure 2, are strong connective tissue embedded between muscle segments present in some sharks, though not in known reptiles. Okay? So you find a creature and it's got some muscle tissue. You don't think, well, we've never seen a reptile with that, therefore it can't be a reptile. Poor logic, fellas, okay? The upper fin is to be interpreted as a shark's dorsal fin that slid sideways. Right, his dorsal fin slid sideways. Explain that. The idea of a dorsal fin existed, however, is disputed by eyewitness testimony as well as the pictorial evidence. Mr. Jano, who conducted the primary examination, he was the guy on board, the scientist on board, insisted there was no shark's dorsal fin. No one else present on the ship's crew thought there was a shark's dorsal fin either. Evidently, Yano's testimony, along with that of other fishermen, was rejected in favor of the dorsal fin theory. Yano was questioned by these guys regarding the upper fins. Let's see. He observed that the fin was considerably smaller than the anterior ventral propulsion flippers and suggested that it was somehow the broken posterior ventral flipper, accounting for its smaller size. Anyway, I have tons of stuff on this creature. I'm going to close for now, but I think we've been lied to, okay? Yano, who examined the creature personally, said no, it's not a dorsal fin. Those scientists correctly stated that it was located too far forward on the body to be the posterior ventral flipper. It had a pair of anterior fins on the creature. It's also strange that the carcass had paired fins but no dorsal fin. Since he already mentioned the flippers, it appears they were speaking of small symmetrical fins on the anterior dorsal area. They saw the incompatibility of those observations with the shark identification, saying that among other assumptions for the shark idea to be true, it has to be assumed that Mr. Yano counted by mistake a single lobe of a fin as two. They are so determined to protect their evolution religion. If you found a dinosaur and captured it alive and tried to bring it in and put it in a zoo, they probably would not let you do it. They probably would try to figure out a way to shoot you and shut you up, as it goes against their religion. It's that serious with some. These claims were maintained during the skeptical cross-examination by certain scientists. Three ideas were advanced to explain B, a broken posterior flipper, a shark's dorsal fin that slid, or one of a pair of upper fins. There's another option, guys. It was a plesiosaur. It's not complicated. This is the sketch drawn by the marine biologist who was on board, who examined it. He said, that's what I had in my hands. The Japanese made a special stamp for Japanese mail one year. Wow. We used to buy these by the hundred and sell them in our bookstore, you know, for those who wanted. I don't have any more left. I don't know if you can still get them or not. 1977, commemorative stamp for Japanese mail. Some people said it was just a decomposing basking shark. That is simply ludicrous. The basking shark said those protein samples were 96% similar to shark protein. I don't know, might have been, but humans and apes have very similar protein, yet they're different animals. Who has seen plesiosaur protein to know what it should look like? Fishermen and the marine biologist who had it in their hands, they knew what basking sharks were and said it is not a basking shark. So, we'll do more research on dinosaurs that may still be alive, and I've done a lot of this what's called cryptozoology research, and there are thousands of books on this topic. Some are so angry that you bring this up because in their religion, dinosaurs lived millions of years ago. Don't question that.
But even if they find them, it lived for millions of years.
If you found one and put it in the zoo, they'd put a sign on it. This one survived for 70 million years. That's what happened with the coelacanth fish. All the books said they lived, 38 million years ago, till they caught some live ones, and you can still go catch them in the Indian Ocean. And all they'll tell the kids in school is, look at this, one survived for 38 million years. They will not question their religion. I think that's sad. If you've been duped by that dumb religion of evolution into believing dinosaurs lived millions of years ago, we're to help you. God said He made everything in 6 days. Everything. God said He's going to judge you one day for everything you've ever said or done or thought about. You might want to get that record erased, deleted, taken off the books. The only way that can be done is the blood of Jesus Christ. That's what I did almost 50 years ago. Lord, I'm a sinner. I believe You died for me. Would You please save me? And something changed inside. He'll do that for you. More on dinosaurs still alive, much to the dismay of you evolutionists, coming up tomorrow.